Here we go with Reddit. At the subreddit Mandela Effect. Did you discover a possible new Mandela Effect? This posted by Auto Moderator 2 years ago. Post it here. Weekly discussion. Do you believe you discovered a new Mandela Effect? Post it in the comments below to see if anyone else has experienced it too. Make sure you include why you think it could be a Mandela Effect and as many details as possible so people can respond and discuss what they remember. I was shocked and elated to find that Gary Oldman had not passed away. Would have been around 2014. That was from One True Pairings. XC responds, dude, I totally remember him dying. That's crazy. Little Green 94 responds, oh my God, he's not dead. One True Pairings, nope, very much alive. Then Benny Blanco 420 says, well, I have this all, actually put this in a little folder, I think. Let me grab that folder. Second verse, same as the first. Gary Oldman and Gary Coleman are easy to confuse. And Gary Coleman died May 28th, 2010. Largely off topic, but no, Gary Coleman and Gary Oldman are not easy to confuse. One is a short black man, and the other is Sirius Black. Then Derek Joestar responds, yeah, I totally remember him dying also, except I remember it was around 2016. Then One True Pairings responds, yeah, it could have been that year too. I remember it was late high school for me. And then MI65 responds, I was just saying last week that Gary would be great for a specific movie if he was still alive. One True Pairings, yeah, I remember his being in a serious movie other than Harry Potter, which I know him from as Sirius Black. And then he died that same year. Red Monarch says, thank you for another great topic this evening. Thank you, Red Monarch, for being a co-producer. And for your comment, sir. Teddy Mason says, Wizard of Oz. The Scarecrow has a gun. No one seems to remember it, though. And the scene has to be shown to them. And even then, that is not how they remember the scene. With Tenshi Neuro responding, this is an old one. I found a webpage in the early 2000s about this. Maybe 2005. The scene is very busy and the gun is hard to see, even if you know about it. It would be very difficult to see on a black and white broadcast TV when it was shown yearly by the networks. And today I don't think most see The Wizard of Oz at all unless they seek it out. It used to be on every year, guys, remember? An annual occurrence. Then Tenshi Neuro responds, on an old black and white TV, I doubt I'd notice. I honestly only noticed because I knew what to look for. Now, if he started gunning down flying monkeys, I'd be like, what the heck? This I would remember. The Scarecrow wasn't even holding the gun correctly, just holding the handle with no finger on the trigger. That's probably why he dropped it when the flying monkeys picked him up and flew away with him. The others fared no better. According to the internet, this is because they decided not to use the scene before it, for which they were armed, the jitterbug scene. I think they had too much faith that the rest of the movie would not date itself anyway. I'm not sure why they cut the jitterbug scene, but I doubt it was because that the dance would not be popular in a few years. That being said, it's apparently the most successful Oz movie. A few recent attempts have failed to make big book. Then Billowas says, famed skeptic and magician The Amazing Randy died about a month ago. But does anyone remember him dying a few years ago? Skullman 44444 says, yeah, this came up before. I and a few others remember him dying a few years ago. I even remember watching a documentary about Randy's life, where at the end they talked about his death and that his $1 million contest would continue, since it had been set up in a trust. That was several years ago. course, the amazing Randy had an offer of $1 million to anyone who could prove any psychic power. Then Benny Blanco 420 answers, "No, I've been following Randy forever, since 2008. When he died at 91 yesterday, old a few weeks ago. When he died at 91 years old, yesterday is years. When he died at 91 years old a few weeks ago, I felt like I lost a hero of mine, a genuinely nice guy who took the little time on Earth to spend a lunch plus longer meeting with me. Lots of psychics and pseudoscience people hated him, like Peter Popoff and Uri Geller. But I do recall seeing a video where it was asked if the $1 million challenge would continue past his death, as he was retiring with the person he loved to live out his sunset years." Then Billawas says, "I was a fan since the 70s. I was a magician in my younger days, and he was one of my idols. That's why I remember him dying a few years ago." Now we have a comment from CJPGR. "Okay, so did anyone else watch The Amanda Show on Nickelodeon in the early 2000s? There was a sketch called Moody's Point that I think is a parody of Dawson's Creek that was recurring on the show. I remember all the little plot points, like the mother and the hot air balloon, the father's toe, Moody being switched at birth, etc. I really liked The Amanda Show as a kid, and I remember watching all of the Moody's Point sketches. How do you remember the ending of Moody's Point?" "I remember that Moody is revealed to be switched at birth. Her real parents arrive at her house. They're circus performers in funny outfits. And then they take Moody away. A social worker then says they're going to bring in the real Moody. I remember that the real Moody was revealed to be a teenage guy, and I was surprised that Moody was a unisex name and that everyone was fine with the girl Moody leaving and being replaced by the real male Moody. But recently I rewatched the Moody's Point sketches, and now it doesn't end like that. Moody leaves with her real circus performer parents. The social worker says they're going to bring in the real Moody, and then the sketch ends without revealing the real Moody. But why would they end it like that? It makes sense that if the fake or female Moody was switched at birth and raised by her not father, then her real parents raised the real male Moody, and they'd switch him back after they leave with the fake female Moody. But they don't. They just leave with her leaving. It ends on a cliffhanger, never revealing the new Moody, or the real Moody. Am I remembering this wrong, or does anyone else remember this ending?" Then New Films says, "I remember it ending with the real Moody about to walk in, but we never found out who it was. I watched it when it came out, but I haven't since. It always bugged me how there was no real ending." Then we have a comment here from Adorable Value. "I'm pretty sure Kimball Musk only popped into existence very recently. I don't remember Elon having a brother. Certainly not a brother who looks just like him, but wearing a cowboy hat. Kimball seems like he would be a very memorable, noticeable guy. So how come last week was the first I'd ever heard of him? Also, he just doesn't feel real. He feels like someone made him up. I keep re-Googling him to check if he still exists, and has not yet popped out of existence again." Andrew Keller 123 answers, "So what's the Mandela effect here? Had you previously researched the Musk family tree, and Elon never had a brother?" Well, you don't have to be that specific. Adorable Value replies, I had certainly read his Wikipedia, read multiple articles about Elon Musk, and his family, and his relationships, and his weird legal battles. And never did I notice he had a brother who looks exactly like him, but is always wearing a cowboy hat. I feel like that's something I would have noticed before now. Kimball Musk has not always existed. Derek Joestar responds, speaking of Elon, the dude himself seemed like he popped into existence. I swear I never heard of Elon at all until a few years ago. Kevin7654 answers, me too. I never heard of Elon Musk. And to make things worse, there's a supposed younger footage of him from 1999, and he looks just awful. I was a huge TV watcher in the 90s, and I would have seen at least one clip of him somewhere. Derek Joestar returns. Yeah, the fact that this guy went from most people not knowing of him at all to being one of the world's most influential billionaires within a span of only a few years is extremely bizarre. Closeted Straight Man says he got a hair transplant. Lazy Dynamite answers, I mean, isn't that kind of how we're introduced to all celebrities, though? Why would we be aware of them before they pop into existence? Also, what is a few years ago to you? I first recall really knowing about Elon around 2011, give or take a year. Well, that's 10 years. That's quite a few years. MI65 agrees. I totally agree. A billionaire appearing out of nowhere. I would have noticed him working in the space exploration scene. Never heard of the guy until a few years ago. And to finish off with the Reddits here. Nuria Luna 87 says, now horses have rectangular pupils. Like what the heck? And also they can grow thick mustaches. Wild Times 3 answers, I think goats also have rectangular pupils. Nuria Luna 87 returns with, goats have always had rectangular pupils, but I remember horses' pupils were round. Kevin7654 returns, that's because you and everybody else in the Mandela Effect community are from different universes and timelines. No joke. I'm from the Berenstein Bear universe. Information Enough responds, people not in the Mandela Effect universe are coming in from other parallel universes too. And Pete the Raw Dog says, replies with a link about the eyes have it. Horses shown to have surprise visual ability. And Pete the Raw Dog says they can rotate them and change their shape vastly. Another comments, that is awesome. Pete the Raw Dog says, yeah, when I first read this comment, I was mad that Bojack never had squared pupils. But when I looked it up and found it rotates while they graze, which Bojack does not do. Evidently, Bojack does not graze. Lots of Reddit stuff out there.